Hey everyone. Um, it's been a little while since I've been live in the group. You have to ignore or excuse, not that I normally say that, but because I don't mind whether you see me with or without, but I have no face on because I still don't have my bag. And so everything that I own and normally travel with and carry with me in my life, all my favourite clothes, all my favourite toiletries, all my makeup, everything was in that bag. So this is me. I have, I have no things and no stuff. Haven't heard from them yet. I made it back, and I am very grateful that I made it back in one piece. But my luggage hasn't arrived yet. So I just wanted to jump on and talk to you a little bit about my time away, how much I missed you, some of the things that I've learned about abundance in the last couple of weeks, and just check in with you guys and see how you all are. I've been in Amsterdam and I've been in Montana, and I've been, first of all, I was away celebrating my birthday, and that was amazing, and I had a really lovely time checking out Amsterdam and getting to just see what life is like there and visit a friend, and was with another friend, and again it was really great just to spend time in the company of people who are living a life less ordinary and making choices that fill them up and feel expansive. Being around creative, entrepreneurial, inspiring, interesting people living a life less ordinary and stepping into conscious leadership has been just joyous and beautiful to acknowledge and witness other people doing that in their own way. And then from Amsterdam, I came home for one night, and then I went away again, and so have been in Montana, and I flew via Frankfurt and Denver over to Montana. And so I think that what happened on the way back is that there were opportunities and places where I had to run across airports in order to make my connection, and I think that the baggage just didn't make it, so hopefully it'll arrive today. So in Montana, I was with my mastermind sisters. So for those of you who don't know, I am part of a high priestess mastermind where I get to hang out with 11 other women who are looking to step up and up-level their businesses or their lives in some way and step into their own power, their own sovereignty, their own priestess energy to do, be and have all that they are inspired to desire and create in the world. And as part of that, I have monthly coaching and monthly group calls with them. And then we also have 3 retreats throughout the year in different cities. So a few months ago in March, I was in Santa Barbara, and I've just been in Montana. And then in October, I will be in South Carolina with them. And it's a huge commitment, really, to sign up to something that's going to be a year long. And I really understand that it's not an insignificant investment, both in terms of money and in time. And yet, every time when I make a commitment like that, the leveling up that it has for me is just incredible. Like, you don't even, or I don't even know, or can't even possibly envisage or imagine what we're going to learn, and how that co-creation and coming together with intention and attention can consciously and hugely change my life in ways that, it's just unimaginable, really. So the theme of this retreat was abundance, and one of the things that became really clear to me was that we all have patterns of avoiding or stepping out of the flow of our own abundance, ways in which we stop the world or the universe or whatever you want to call it delivering abundance to us, because actually abundance is our natural nature. And if you look at nature, you can see that. So there are cycles, and if you look out in nature, it is always abundance, regardless of what's going on. There's always abundance there. There's new growth, and there's blooming, and then there's, the falling into decay, and the winter, and the reseeding, and there's cycles, and that's the same with abundance. So that was one of the big things that really came out of our time away, was noticing that our own personal cycles. And what tends to happen for most of us is that we reach that kind of summer where things start to flower and bloom, and then the harvest where it all comes in. And for some reason, we then expect it to stay like that forever, rather than acknowledging that there is some kind of a cycle and there will be a death and a rebirth in order for us to come back through to the new cycle of up leveling or the new cycle of abundance. And that in and of itself, that is abundant. In and of itself, being given time to rest and digest and recalibrate is abundance. And so a lot of this weekend was really just about noticing nature. And if you've seen the photos on my Instagram, if you watched any of my stories, you will have noticed that the nature there is incredible. So we were in Whitefish in Montana, and we also went up to Glacier Park, and we were at Lake McDonald, and the mountains were huge and vast, and they call that space Big Sky Country. And the sky just goes on and on forever, and it's incredible and just so beautiful. And being in nature in that way, where it's so in your face and it's so clear, you're really able, or I was really able, just to observe the patterns and the beauty. And we talked a lot about medicine when I was there, and about how sometimes we're served medicine. And if you think about the qualities of medicine, it's often something we don't really want to take, that doesn't taste good, that ultimately makes us better or feel better afterwards. And there are so many situations where we are served medicine. So when there's a pattern that tends to repeat itself, or a situation in which we are triggered or feel uncomfortable or hard done by, that's often medicine for us. Like, there's often something there for us to learn. And I had my own kind of epiphanies around that. And so that was really interesting. Really interesting. Yeah. So I wanted to talk a little bit about that. I'm just going to let Nicola into the group, because I've got a notification up saying that she wants to join, and it would be awesome to let her in so she can see. Yay. Hey Nicola, if you join us. Yeah, so that was something that came through really clearly. And for me, my patterns of avoiding and stopping the flow of abundance happen when I decide that something's not available for me. And I wondered whether any of you guys have noticed that there's situations or examples where you limit your own abundance or success by feeling like you don't deserve it, or making the assumption that that's not for someone like you. And I just wondered whether you guys could take a bit of time to notice where you're making assumptions. And I was explaining to someone that it's not, that for me, there are instances where I go, yeah, that's not possible. And I mean it like, walking is available to me, but flying is not available to me. And it would be ludicrous for me to believe that flying, without the aid of an aeroplane or whatever, was available to me. And I had it pointed out that in this scenario, this was an assumption that maybe I could fly, maybe I could say yes to situations, and that there are all sorts of situations where I'm doing more than half the work, where I'm pushing and trying to make something happen rather than allowing it to step forward and come to me. And I know that there's a lot of the people that I work with, a lot of my one-to-one clients, who also have that pattern going on for them, where they do more than 50% of the work. And one of the things that I was reminded of when I was away is that we are all made up of matter, that we are vibration, frequency and light, and that we are met with an equal and opposing force. So if I lean up against this wall, can't see it, but I'm pushing. If I push up against it, the reason I don't fall through it is because that matter meets my matter, and it meets with an equal and opposing force. And when we do more than 50% of the work in any given situation, we might feel like we're being really helpful and we're being really useful, but actually we're pushing the other person or the situation out, so it can't fully come and meet us and support us. And for me, that was really interesting. Yeah, absolutely. And so, yeah, it's just a really interesting thing for us all to talk about a little bit more in this space, about the assumptions that we're making, about how we can be met, and bringing it back to abundance and noticing the patterns, because the way we do anything is the way we do everything. And so if we can notice the pattern in one area, we can probably flip it through to another. So my personal aha moment was like, oh my God, the two areas of my life where I'm sometimes like, this doesn't flow as well as everything else, is often around money and men. And I realised that my romantic relationships and my relationship with money are very, very similar. That I often attract in these amazing experiences or these incredible windfalls or these incredible people. And then I take one look at it and go, oh no, well, that's not for me, and push it away. And I am going to be making some changes around that, because once we have that first step of awareness, then we're able to work out what it is that we would like instead. And so I will be using the 8 pillars on myself moving forward and making some changes, which lead me to a couple of other things. So there are a couple of one-to-one packages that I will be retiring. I'm going to move into offering a mastermind next year, and also a big retreat. And you'll hear more about that in the next couple of weeks. I'm going to finish putting the information together for you. But if you know that you're interested, the best thing to do is to sign up to my mailing list, because you will be the first ones to hear about it there. I will put something in this group too, but unless you've got your notifications turned on, if you want to make sure that you get to hear about this stuff first, then be on the mailing list and I will let you know about that. So there's going to be a mastermind coming, there's going to be a big retreat coming. These are going to be for people who are ready to step up their leadership, ready to step into a place of conscious leadership where they are looking at the ideas of sovereignty, looking at how we lead without putting ourselves on a pedestal, how we can lead from within an organisation and in a way that is really natural and easy and effortless for us rather than pushing. So I'm going to look at feminine leadership, or balancing our masculine and feminine in a sovereignty position and in a leadership role. So if those are the kind of things that are interesting to you, there's a lot more of that coming. If you have been looking at some of my one-to-one stuff and not sure about whether it's the right time, I tell you now, the time is now, because those offers are going to start to disappear off the table. So Wake Up is still available. Kick Ass is still available. There is no more Be Kind, and there will be some changes coming. So yeah, just wanted to let you know about that. So I know there's about 8 or 9 of you who have expressed an interest in working with me, who've said, I will do it later, or I will do it at another time, and I would love to have another conversation with you, because now is the time, and it's just that simple. And then I wanted to end with, because I realise I've been talking straight for 12 minutes and I don't know how that happened, but I wanted to end with a story of how the world and the universe can deliver magic to us if we are open to it. And you can take this whichever way you want. And some of you who are friends with me on Facebook might have seen me show a ring while I was away, this ring. I'm going to tell you the story about it, because you guys, you can handle the truth of this. It's a really random story and it's really fun. So I was in Whitefish Lake, and we had finished our retreat for the weekend, in which hey, thanks, Janet. We'd finished our retreat for the weekend, and so we were all over at Whitefish Lake having a play. And one of the things that was had come up for me around abundance was this stuff around romantic relationships, and around also giving away my abundance, like sharing it with people, sending it out into the world rather than kind of containing it and keeping it for myself. And so that's one of the things I'm going to be really working on, is creating this energy of abundance, and then rather than getting rid of it because it feels unsafe, really holding it in and keeping it close to me, and kind of keeping hold of my abundance for myself. Okay, so we're in Whitefish Lake, and I'm wearing a brand new swimming costume that I bought the day before I left and have not worn before. And we're in the lake, and I can feel something which feels like it's in the lining of my swimming costume. So I'm like, what is this? I can feel it. I'm like, it feels like a ring. So I fiddle around with it. I'm like, but there's no hole in my swimming costume. I don't understand how this got in. And then in the lining, in the crotch of my swimming costume, there's a hole. So I push this thing down into the crotch of my swimming costume. Everyone else in the lake is like, what are you doing? I'm like, don't mind me. And I go down and I pull out of my swimming costume this ring. And it's a really beautiful silver ring. And the only finger it fits, and it fits perfectly, is my wedding ring finger. So we were all standing there in amazement and just laughing at my ability to manifest ridiculous situations very, very quickly, and just be in this scenario. And I was like, oh, what could this mean? What meaning am I going to choose to give it? And so in this moment, without a huge ceremony and without it being a dramatic thing, this ring symbolises for me like magicking or creating or materializing or manifesting my own abundance and keeping it for myself, and marrying it, so being in a marriage with my own abundance, and taking care of and supporting myself in that way, and then allowing others to support me, and for me to be supported by the world more. And so yeah, I just thought I'd share that story, and it's a bit weird for me and a bit vulnerable for me, because I often don't share about the magic stuff that happens in my life, because I'm a little bit mindful of being too woo-woo in this space, because although I am and absolutely believe in the magic of the universe and the ridiculously magic stuff that happens to me, I also really like to balance that out with the more masculine and the more logical and the more like really practical, pragmatic, tangible steps and things that you can do and make it really real worldy. So yeah, a little bit mindful of the vulnerable nature of sharing the kind of crazy shit that happens to me, but I've also made a commitment to do more of that, because it really does happen, and it is part of my world and part of the stuff that both I and all of my one-to-one clients actually experience a lot more of when we tap into this stuff. So yeah, thank you, Tessa. And hey Charlie, thank you, because it's really, really, really random. There was so much other stuff that happened as well, and I think when we give ourselves these opportunities, when we sign up for masterminds, for commitments, for coaching, to be in partnership with other people, when we do the stuff that scares us and we say yes, some really amazing and incredible stuff can come through, and sometimes we don't even realize it unless we have our eyes open and actually working with other people so that they can point out the abundance that's already there, so we can stay in a place of gratitude and actually be a vibrational match for the abundance that we want to let in. So creating abundance is only one part of it. Allowing it in and receiving the abundance that is available to us is the other part. And so that's the bit that I'm working on right now, and I would love to work with more of you on this stuff if that's something that appeals to you. And so right now I have got one-to-one space. I know it's a dodgy time of year, but it's actually beautiful because so many of you are around. I was going to be away in August writing, and actually I'm going to be here so I can start with 4 new people. So if you're one of those people and you want to start, it's the last chance to do some one-to-one stuff with me. I'm not sure that I'm going to take on any new one-to-one clients next year. I think it's going to all go to Mastermind, but I will let you know more about that in the next couple of weeks. And if you want to have a chat with me about working one-to-one, then please do get in touch. Yeah, you can check all you want. I checked, there was nothing there before I left. I have no idea how this magic thing appeared, but it's beautiful. Anyway, I am going to go. I've been talking to you for 20 minutes. I love you all. I have missed you all. If you have questions for me or anything that you'd love me to do the Woe Is Me on, or talk about next week, then tag me in a post and I will do that. And we, I'll get in touch and we can answer those questions. So it's really lovely to be back. I'm really excited to start working with people again, and it feels nice to have had a little break. I feel refreshed but really ready to get my teeth into some coaching. So, all right,